Alright, last time you guys had healed Lena, averting disaster and her dying on your floor through magic. Lena got to figure out a little bit of her motivations and drive in a dream sequence, and then you guys had some nice scenes between certain pairs of you. Lena and Nostre talked about what was going on in the city a little bit, and Cormac and Catalina talk about future plans for taking the throne of sorts. Another few days have passed. You guys are getting your feet under you, and Lena continues to heal as you guys go about trying to figure out what's happening. Though you thought the city might calm down after the siege, it is actually gotten worse. Senor Santiago seems to be fully making a play for the crown now that nothing is stopping him. The siege made a tenuous peace between the factions because it was us versus them, and with that gone, Senor Santiago and Isabel's forces are clashing more often. The Cultus Falce have also taken this as an open range kind of situation where they are going unchecked and moving out of the district that they typically operated within. During this, you guys are doing your best to keep a little bit of order as you can, also having people out there, but trying to get people out of the city, keep your people safe. Catalina calls you guys to the planning room so you can talk about what happens next. Before you is the large wooden circular table with a large map of the city. On top of it, different points marked where like skirmishes have been happening, where like points of interest are, that kind of thing. So, things are bad. Again, worse.
We seem to have a lot of experience with that.
Yeah, I wish we didn't, honestly. But the way I see it is we need to stop Senor Santiago, we need to stop my sister, and we need to stop the Cultus Falce. Not necessarily in that order, but in some fashion.
Well, I wanted to talk to everybody about maybe a different path that we could take. I know we've spent most of our time trying to figure out how to get Catalina as the Duchess. We've spent years on it, in fact, but I'm thinking that given what we know about the Duke and how things are going, we maybe take a different tack and, do something totally new. Like, stop having a dukedom in the first place. If we can figure out a way to share power amongst factions, including Isabel, if she'll have it. I, don't love the idea of murdering her if she can be convinced not to just wipe Orétrios off the map.
I don't think leaving her in any sort of position of power is something I can abide. I mean, look what she's done.
I'm just saying I would like to discuss maybe a way that we could set things up that doesn't involve one person as the head.
That's fine. I'm just saying I don't think we leave Isabel in the city at all. I don't really want to murder my sister, but I think we need a plan B that is not leaving her with any semblance of power. At least here. Like, if she wants to go be, like, King of Castille, by all means she can go. If she wants to be the Queen of Avalon, all the power to her, but not here.
I think that, normally, probably what I would say is that, handle one thing at once and realize the ramifications of what you're suggesting might be complicated.
I do realize that. Yeah.
We are, at some point, not an island that is separate from larger influences, and suddenly deciding that we no longer want to have a duke might simply invite another to claim the title and the city. That being said, I am hesitant to spend a great deal of effort and life on the goal of perpetuating something. And all I mean to say by this is that spending the lives on perpetuating something that clearly is awful is maybe not worth it. Not that I want to see this city burn, but there's options beyond that. That being said, if we want to do something as bold as abandoning the title that used to rule this city, we can try. I'm sure people will be mad, but...
What has that ever stopped us before?
This is true, and really, we, those of us here without really title, or at least support of that title, Magdalena technically would stand potentially to lose something, but we really would have nothing to lose. This would be a loss for Catalina, not for us. That really is who must be convinced.
I'm also concerned about trying to share power between the factions. Like, it definitely is sounds like a great idea, but anytime one group thinks that they can get more power, they're going to fight over it, and it seems like a hard thing to get them to share that.
That's true. I'm thinking that currently the power that they have has to be under the Duke or Duchess or whoever. If we've got something in which they have to share power but have more of a direct say in what's going on, that's an improvement for them, right? So that's kind of the way I'm thinking of pitching it, if I have to pitch it.
Who will enforce those boundaries, though?
That is an excellent question, and one which we've already begun to answer with the circus and with the Duke's Rebellion. It would simply have to...
Oh, the werewolves. Honestly, nobody else has werewolves, right?
Well, it does just kind of mean the werewolves could just say we are the kings of everything, but what I believe Sigurd is pointing out is that the strength of armed and organized people would have to be dedicated to the notion of not allowing one of these factions to arbitrarily strong-arm their way into becoming yet another dictatorial force. So...
And then at that point, that armed force that is keeping the peace is basically the group in charge.
Well...
And then wants to stop them from taking more power and then becoming even more powerful. It seems like a very difficult balance that I don't know if we can achieve at the moment. I'm all for trying it, but I'm just trying to think of ways that it can go wrong.
I think the point of force is important to address. We do not only face threats from within the city, also from without. And the primary focus of whatever force lives in this city would be to protect it and the surrounding lands. Likely from people of our nation or our neighbors. That being said, the way that militant force is organized can be distributed so as not to allow for parts of it to become overly powerful. If we train as a matter of course most of the citizens, which is what we have begun to do in order to fight this rebellion that we have been doing so far, that goes a long way for not allowing for a single powerful dictator to stand, because they could be immediately overthrown by their own people, which was the issue of why that couldn't happen to... Oh my gosh, I forgot her name, because I don't want to call her Fakelina anymore.
Isabel.
But that being said, I think it is a good thing to go. I don't think we're going to convince many people with pretty words. I think we're going to have to convince them by either backhanded bribery or extortion or threats. There's a lot of people that are going to say no, and we don't want to have to fight all of those people because they will win.
So getting the Spies Guild up and running is probably
helpful.
Going to be necessary for that. Yeah.
Helpful. And identifying who can be bought into. Do you want to be a captain of the guard instead of, you no longer are collecting taxes from this random hunk of farmland. Instead, now you're getting a salary from the city designated by a council of, guild head people is not at all unheard of. I'm sure they already kind of have one. The difficulty will be getting those people to be able to marshal and pay a military. Because also, to Sigurd's point, pay them. That's the other really solid way to make an army not conquer yourself, is keep them paid. As long as they're taken care of, they probably won't bite the hand that feeds, so to speak. So long as whatever council that rises up is able to pay them, then it will probably be easier as well.
So who do we want to get at this table?
I mean, I think whoever leads the town guard after we get rid of Santiago should probably be there.
City guard, right?
Well, what factions do we have left? Because I'm going to guess that's going to be the way to get all of the factions to, or some of them, to agree to this. Off the top of my head, we have not made any deal with the Cultus Felce, the Duelists Guild, the Explorers Guild. I guess the Sorcerers of Porte aren't around anymore, but...
Well, there is one.
Yeah, and I guess he's on our side, so we've got that going for us.
True, we've got that one. The Gravediggers are us now. Am I forgetting anyone? Because I think that's who we're missing right now.
I think the largest issue to me would be the City Guard, the Cultist Felce, and the Explorers Guild, kind of. The Explorers Guild, I think, could be bought off, but the Cultist Felce and the City Guard are the people that are, like, standing with swords in our way. And the thing with the City Guard is, I don't think we should or could fight all of them. Like, I agree at some point Senor Santiago and, frankly, potentially Magdalena's brother, although, if ever there was to be a beautiful puppet, it might be Magdalena's brother. No, and I mean, I don't mean that in an offensive way. What I mean is that he's popular, well-liked.
No, I was going to say, I understand what you mean.
Yeah, and if, I guess, is there a lever that we can pull for him? Is there something that he is ashamed of? Something that he does not want known? Aside from his inability to fight a good duel? These are the things that we could maybe use to convince him that, like, look, you can either be a famous captain of the guard who is paid a decent salary to marshal the troops, or you can be the, shamed member of a fallen house. So, one of those is better than the other.
I think the only thing I'll say about that is I think we can't push him too hard. Like with the negative. I think if motivating him with a positive outcome will probably...
Oh, yeah. No, I don't mean... I mean that, like, the alternative needs to be good, but the thing, if he doesn't agree with us, needs to be also pretty bad,
Yeah, I just don't want him to get pushed to the point in which he turns on us,
Yeah, I would agree.
Well, don't forget, Nostro stories always have to have a weird message that is both good and bad.
Life is good and bad.
That sounds nice. I would like the good part to show up a little more frequently.
I mean, I still feel like we truly await the answer of Catalina, how much power are you absolutely willing to drop and give up for the sake of allowing others to rule in your stead?
I think I'm fine with giving, like, all of it up. I trust myself. I think I could do it. But what happens when I have a child or when I have grandchildren that are terrible like my father? I don't think our dukedom is meant to last. We came here through a rebellion of making us illegitimate heirs to this throne, and we did absolutely no better.
I do think we need an ambassador or a diplomat to dialogue with all of the neighbors and enemies around us, and somebody who has political training and has been working toward this sort of role all her life might not be a bad thing. Not saying that you should run the whole show under this new thing.
Okay, I'll do it. You don't have to twist my arm. And she gives a smile.
Oh my, you stole my joke! I was totally gonna be Nostro was gonna reach over and be like, I am too old for this job. I know that it seems like it would be perfect for me.
Well, once again, Vinny thinks exactly like Cody.
And steals my joke.
It's not as bad as being married to someone for a decade and then them knowing you pause for dramatic effect in the middle of jokes and then they just slip it in to beat you to the punch.
No comment.
That is a very important thing, and I think I would be good at that. I also wondered, well, we can have a figurehead. Like someone who, to outside appearances, like, we're a dukedom, and they do nothing in the town.
Do we want to do that?
I don't I don't think I want to do that. Not that that really matters, but I don't think Isabel will be keen on that at all. And I think we do need to talk to her. And I think the angle that we go with her is truly like she wants Orétrios wiped off the map. I am suggesting we do that in every way, but physically.
Then why are you saying that people should still report to the Duke? I'm confused.
What?
You said like 10 minutes ago, you said like the factions are a thing and the Duke's still a thing and they work together.
Oh, no, she was saying that's how it is now, that they're having to report to a Duke, not that.
Sorry, I misunderstood.
Yeah, no, none of that. I think we will have to change the name. No more Orétrios. Under new management, as it were. And she wants the truth about the Dukes to be known. I think we run with that. We print that in every printing press we can and start fresh. You know, I don't think going halfway on any of this is going to cut it.
I would agree. I also don't know how much my name means anything anymore. I know that we have been working hard to discredit Isabel, but she has been wearing my face for 3 years and done a lot of damage, and I don't know. Some group somewhere is going to be upset with that.
I do think that there is, to me, I agree, one with the, having an ambassador might be advantageous, especially one that might be able to line pockets. Look, you don't want to worry about the fact that this city is ruled differently. Now, here's a large sack of gold. No one will complain if, we continue to play nicely with our neighbors, and maybe more than nicely. Also, in terms of, I agree that we have to get buy-in from people who need to be given an advantage of this, and I could also see from the Duelist Guild perspective, they could be facilitators of martial disagreement within whatever becomes our standing defensive military. That's not a terrible idea, as, whatever subordinates have disagreements and feel the need to fight over them, that could be handled and managed in a better way, and that might allow for more structure within the military rather than just all, random fights on the street about it. But to the point of your name, I guess, I would agree that at the moment it has been, technically devalued, but I think it was maybe always a mistake for you to put a lot of value in it anyways. We've did spend years at sea actually helping people, and those things you still have to your name, and those are experiences that you would bring to the table as being an ambassador, so,
Sorry, I don't mean it in, I don't think it's that my name means, or that I am bad at this, or that I have no pull or weight or experience behind me. I do think being involved to a degree will be difficult because people will be wary of what I do, since a lot of things, good and bad, have been done as me, so to speak, in my name.
Well, the good news is we do have a necklace that could allow you to permanently become a different person if you ever wanted to really burn the bridge on your previous life.
Well, I don't know how much this deal will fly for Isabel if I'm still heavily involved in the government.
I don't think...
And I don't think ambassador is a bad role. I don't know if she will disagree to that. That seems removed enough. And me not in the city significant portions of the time would also probably help. I'm just saying, I think we need to... you were asking how much power I'm willing to give up. I don't think I have a lot of power left in the same way that I would have had 3 years ago.
Sure, but if you do not buy in on this and in 2 years decide that you are actually the rightful ruler of this city, this whole process starts again. So, you do have power in this matter, because you could just claim to say all of this is illegal and try to reconquer your lands again. So please don't do that. But and in terms of Isabel, I both agree that I believe it would be unfair of us to not attempt to discuss this with her. However, I also don't think that we can really leave management decisions up to her.
Yes, I would agree. I think best case scenario, we exile her from the town after she agrees to us changing the name and everything Cormac already said.
I think maybe if, depending on how she receives this whole thing, if we don't want her in the city, that's fine. But perhaps something with the Explorers Guild, or something in which she is off getting funds for the city. If she is dedicated to Orétrios not being a dukedom anymore and being something new, we're going to need money. And we're going to need somebody who can take charge and find it some way, whether that's on the high seas or somewhere else.
It's all fun and games until she brings back a magical artifact at the bomb that blows up half the city.
I'm saying if she seems truly invested in this succeeding, I think giving her a role that contributes to it succeeding is not bad.
I would agree to that.
Again, it depends very highly on how she responds to this, but if that's something she can get behind, we should leverage that, because we don't have unlimited resources.
And we also know many nameless islands that no one knows of where a person could be put for a long time happily alive,
I'm also not saying, we fully exile her like that. It's more just, don't come back to town. We don't need to put her in the middle of the ocean and say, have a good life. Saying...
Catalina, if we're not convinced that she's not coming back for us, we need to put her in the ocean, in the middle of the ocean, where she can never escape. She can't just be, left dangling, maybe she'll come back someday to kill us all. She either needs to be convinced or exiled.
I'm just saying, I don't think islands are a permanent solution, I feel like in a different world, they put them on an island twice until it's stuck.
That's a Napoleon joke.
True. So I want to talk about roadblocks now, right? So we kind of have a goal of allow a city council to form, let that council collect tax and fund their own military. And that military can be made to stand by, being paid a decent amount and given, what would the word be?
Stipend?
Social clout is not the word I'm looking for. Dignity in their job, and also should probably be populated by a lot of everybody, particularly peasants and craftsmen should probably be prepared and organized for that. But all of that is to say, what is standing in our way of doing that now?
Well, I think it's just the ongoing street war between Isabel and Santiago, with the Cultus Falce having a good time picking off both sides.
Oh, right. What do we want the Cultus Falce to do?
Oh, if we write laws, they could be impartial adjudicators. If we write because they know what laws are written.
They do, yeah. I think the main thing is that there's not really a set-in-stone punishment for things. They just kind of decide that.
No, I understand that. Who writes the laws in this society? Kind of asking you, Catalina, how does a law become a law in this city?
It's the Duke or Duchess, yeah?
You would think so, right?
Right, I think that's what it would be, right? I'm trying to, out of character, I'm trying to think through if there's any reason why it wouldn't be that, and I'm not thinking of anything unless I'm being stupid.
There was a town hall that burned down kind of at the start of this. I don't know how much role that played.
I believe, if I remember correctly, that was just something the Duke did to get suggestions from people. It was never an official law body.
Okay.
Yeah, so, yeah, I think Like, currently the Duke/Duchess gets to just say what goes? And I mean, also, there's, like, the king.
Is anyone else getting really excited about what that potentially implies for the cultist Valche and us? Oh shoot, you're not the Duchess. Gosh darn it, you're not the Duchess, technically. Dang it! Really, by all rights, you're not the Duchess.
Here's what we do. We sneak in. We get another necklace from the Explorers Guild. I put on one, disguise myself as Isabel. I put on a second one, disguise myself as Catalina again. We get in, kidnap Isabel, I start writing laws. Bing bang, we're done. After that, we sneak back out, put Isabel back on the throne, and then go with our rest of our plans.
What I'm trying to figure out here is if you just wrote something on the paper, would it become a law that the cultist Valche would be like, oh, wait, Sigurd, you're in the cultist Valche, right? You're technically, you know all the laws?
Do I just know all the laws?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Yes, you do have to be careful, though, because the cultist Valche is very particular on the wording of the law. If it's not worded exactly how you meant it, they will go by the wording.
I get that. What's a, like, really simple law that we could test this with? Like, it is illegal to take a pen from Nostroy. Just write that down. Or a quill from Nostroy. It is illegal.
She writes that down.
And then I go, okay, Sigurd, try to take my pen and see if it seems if it's illegal.
Sigurd can just know if it's a law or not. She doesn't have to try to break it to know that.
Sigurd, is it a law?
Does it feel law-like now?
Does it feel law-ish or not?
You, like, read into your memory, and there is no recording of this being a law. To stave off things, Catalina signed it and then did a signet on it.
And it's not a law?
It's not a law. However, then, Sigurd, you have a flash, and you're like, well, stealing is a crime, and that should be punishable by cutting someone's hands off.
So I don't think that worked. That doesn't feel like a law to me. But just in general, stealing is already a law, and the punishment would be cutting your hand off.
So is it just because it was already a law that did not work, or was it because, like, can she not undo a law?
Okay, so to not make this a 20-minute discussion in character, what I am showing there is Sigurd, like his brain now wires to fit it, finding the law that would apply.
Her brain.
Her brain. Yeah, like, it's like wiring to, like, the thing you're trying to do is like, oh, is this a law? No. Here's all the relevant search terms. Like, it automatically is hyperlinking.
Oh, I see. Okay, I get you. So no. So what I wanted to do here, where we could just entirely control the cultist Valche by writing arbitrary laws, will not work.
No, it will not.
My guess would be that because Catalina is not the one in power, the laws that she writes would not apply. That is just my guess, though.
I guess what I'm trying to get across here is if we made a governing body, could we not then, like, whatever codified set of laws, would the cultist Valche kind of take care of themselves? Or, like, I don't know if they're down for that.
I think the main thing would be probably codifying what the consequence for breaking the law is, because right now they're just kind of go full tilt on that. But I think otherwise they'd be good at being impartial adjudicators, as you said. So if the council is making laws that need to be made and making a standard, cause and effect for things, then I think they would follow that to the letter.
Sigurd, do you want to make a scholarship and wits check real quick?
Scholarship with wits. Okay, let's see how bad this is going to be.
Yay, dice.
I do feel like this is the perfect faction for Vinny, though, because it's just like, what level of, like, kind of pedantic, like, by the letter of the law rule following are we going to have to deal with the cultist Valche? Like, they follow the law. Like, we make the law. What if we change the law? I say the law is I can steal.
Vinny, this is the moment where you say hurtful.
I also just realized that I could totally just make up laws and put Zach in a position to either yes and me or just say no.
Yeah, but then that also, then you're making precedent even if he says no. You know what I mean?
Oh, so that's not a law. Oh, okay.
You act like I have a problem telling you no.
No, but saying no would be making a law, though. You know what I mean?
There's 1 raise with 2 dice left over.
Oof. That's not great.
Yeah, I only got to roll 4 dice, and that's with the bonus for it being the first time I've rolled that.
I'll buy one of your dice to give you another hero point.
Woo!
Okay. So you're thinking on everything that happens with Cultus Falce. And you remember there was a process that happened before you were put into a death match for your crimes. But that's all I'm going to give you.
Oh, so like my memory of that.
You can, whatever you remember, I'm going to, there are details that exist and things that you have experienced, is what I'm saying. Did not roll high enough for me to tell you what the thing is and make the connection for you.
Right, but I'm guessing you're saying, like, is this something that would have been in the podcast recorded already, or is this...
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes, it is in the...
Okay.
It happened in real time.
Okay.
Homework.
So what you're telling me is you're giving Sigurthur's puppeteer a homework assignment to go back and listen to our own podcast.
I was going to say, Sigurthur, go into your thought palace.
Hey, you can do that, or you can just be like, hey, maybe we're not fully correct about everything and we'll wing it.
I do remember there was like a process as I was initiated into it before I had to basically fight to the death. I had to think about that some more. I don't remember a lot about that. I was hurt pretty badly.
So maybe we wait on dealing with them, but we have a maybe plan of a role in the future government. Is that fair to say?
Potentially. So either way, I feel like we have a to-do list here that we need to work out. So to-do list number 1.
1 second.
Go, Zach, go. Look at him, being a good dad.
Okay, time to list all of the laws that I can just make up now that God has gone missing.
God has gone missing.
I was also hoping that one of you would suggest, probably no story, suggest that Catalina sign Isabel's name next, because I'm sure forgery is also a crime.
That actually would be kind of funny.
All right, sorry, where were we?
So Sigurthur just made a whole bunch of new laws because God was dead.
Well, God is back, and he retroactively rewinds us 5 minutes.
No, I think what I had said is let's make a to-do list. To-do list! So, we need to handle the town guard with the leadership of Senor Santiago and potentially Miguel. Find out if we can write new laws for the cult.
Or how it is that the Cultus Falce gets the laws that they follow.
And then someone needs to convince Isabel that she wants to be our friend and be a pirate.
We need to see if either the Duelist Guild or the Explorers Guild would be willing to be, like, paid off or something to join us.
I think the Duelist Guild will very much enjoy that.
Well, okay, and then the asterisk to that is, what monetary funds do we have to do that? Or would they be interested in a seat of power when we're in power?
I figured maybe they'd want to be, a representative of merchants and commerce in the city. I'm fine with them being on a council.
Yeah, I mean, I think for the Duelist Guild offering them the position of, like, military arbitration, so if, like, within our standing military there is a dispute, the Duelist Guild is, like, the facilitators of that, and then the Explorers Guild, like, I think they benefit just from being on our side most, like, immediately, you know what I mean? Like, more commerce in the city is good for them, potentially allowing them
and having a more direct bit of power. Right now, they're just kind of a guild. They're not involved in decisions involving the city that they work out of, so.
Yeah, I agree with all of these things. So I think the ones that we need to handle the most directly are Senor Santiago and then Miguel. So, do we want to directly just try to, like, get rid of Senor Santiago, or do we want to try to, like, get Miguel to kind of help us with that?
Well, we saw how it went last time when you just threw me up at him.
I think it would behoove us to undermine his power first and foremost.
And I do think Miguel's a potentially good way to do that, you know what I mean?
I think there's Miguel, and there is also the burned captain, I think, would also probably be a decent way to get at Senior Santiago without getting at Senior Santiago.
How do you mean?
It will undermine his power base.
By doing what?
Getting rid of his captains.
Oh, I see. Taking out.
Or convincing them to work for us.
That works too, like removing his pawns from the board.
Right.
And this is where I go, is there a thing for Miguel that we think we could utilize as leverage beyond the just potential offering of power?
I think that's what Cormac's Smyrant network was for, right?
Can be, sure. Whatever we need to do, I can find something out. I can do rolls and stuff.
I think sending your network out to discover as much as we can about Miguel and levers we can pull on him. Well, it's also we have to decide how rough we want to go with him. He is family to Lena, so I don't know what's fully on the table for making him miserable.
I guess, Magdalena, do you have an opinion on how hard we go at Miguel? Like, I would rather him be our friend, personally. I think that would be better, but if you do not believe that's an option, it does not have to be.
I think if I am dealing with him, then friendly is not an option.
So we won't have you do this job.
No. No, I think that's the correct way to handle that.
Maybe you can work with my spies on pointing them in the right direction for getting more information on him, perhaps?
Yes, because if I am involved, he is going to be sassy, and that is...
and you'll be sassy.
And I'll be sassy, and nothing will get done.
I also think he hates me, so I think this one falls squarely on Cormac.
And Sigurtha.
I think Sigurth's probably going to have her hands full with the Cultist Velche and the Duelist Guild.
Sure, I can work on Miguel.
And I certainly can go and talk to the burned-faced captain. I owe him a visit. He must learn a lesson. Apparently another lesson. One was not enough.
Some people are hard-headed, you know.
And I can work with, I will work with Cormac's spies, and I can also go ahead and talk to the Explorers Guild. I've been in contact with him the most, I think.
Right.
Other couple of things we need to talk about, though, with like all these roadblocks. Great, I think we have a pretty solid plan going forward. Do we extend seats of power to the werewolves?
I think the werewolves at this point are maybe considered like the nebula. Well,
like part of the military.
Yes, but they do sort of require or need a certain kind of social isolation. Like, I do not know that I think that's maybe a question for the werewolves, do they consider themselves to be a part of the Duke's Rebellion? Do they consider themselves to be an external force that just wants to leave? Do they want to be protectors of the city? I think that is a question for them, but if they do not feel comfortable being under someone else's authority, then I believe they have earned that right, considering they've been the only ones externally defending the city for months.
That seems fair.
I think it might be useful and beneficial to them and us to have them involved. Obviously, like you said, that we want to ask them if they're even interested. But part of why they're so isolated is because people are afraid of them and they kind of don't want to deal with that. And maybe if we start to normalize that it's a thing that happened and they can't change it. And maybe if we start to normalize that with people, then they won't feel the need to be so isolated from society.
Sure.
Well, I do think that's certainly a reason to ask them. Like, do they desire to have a domain in which they can be wolves and tear deer apart? Or do they want to be brought back into society and respected as the city's protectors? And I think that I think they have earned the right to ask for either.
I do think we need to be careful on which ones we ask, because I'm sure Jonathan will just be up for whatever we say. He seems very agreeable.
I think we have to ask. They have like a leader who's like a monster guy, right? He's like a big, tough dude.
They have a leader, right? What's his name? It's not Fang, is it? No.
I think it's Thrasher.
Thrasher. That sounds right.
He had a name that was on the... We also might want to talk with them about not calling themselves Thrasher if they don't want people to be scared of them. But, yes, so, okay, and so, Catalina, what else was there?
What do we do with Jean-Luc?
Is that the Porte guy?
Yes, because, well, there's two things.
Is he not sitting at this table with us?
No, it's like the four. It's just us.
Okay. I assumed this was like all hands on deck meeting type thing. Okay.
No. This is just an intimate gathering of runaways.
Do you want, like, a pet, or, like, you could have him, I think. You could have him.
I mean, he is, like, easy on the eyes, so, and he's not a drunkard anymore, so...
He's all yours.
But not what I meant. I meant, how do we want to handle foreign magic within the city and its place within the government?
I don't think Jonathan, he doesn't really represent... Jean-Luc doesn't really represent anybody. And
He doesn't, but he might rebuild stuff. Like, he has...
Do you think so?
Well, but I don't know that we want the Sorcerer of Porte to come back. We killed, like, a lot of the Sorcerers of Porte, and I think Jean-Luc is maybe, like, an exile. I think he's kind of like a political hostage or, like, a refugee that we're just kind of, like... We should probably not, like, really project that he is alive and working with us.
So you're saying he should be seeking asylum with us, not doing anything else?
That's fine, I just...
Yeah, I think that I think his, like, livelihood is pretty dubious if he leaves.
And also, I hope that your comment on foreign magic is more about having an official faction of the city and not just in general, because if it's the other, then that's the three of us are in trouble.
Yeah, you don't want my foreign magic to show up. It's bad.
No, that's fine. I just wanted us to talk about it before we forgot Jean-Luc exists in some fashion. Alright, is there anything else we feel like we need to talk about, or do we have a plan forward?
I think we've got a plan. Go team. We're feeling great.
Alright, until next time, everybody.
Keep wondering.
Hey Wanderers, thanks for listening. We hope you enjoyed this episode of Corsairs of Castille. This game is being run in the 7th Seas 2nd Edition system. If you want to hear more content from the Wandering Gamer Network, you can check us out at the Wandering Gamer Network website. We stream on Twitch with the username wandering_gamers, and we're also on Facebook and Instagram. All information about the music used can be found in the episode description. Until next time, wherever you wander, may you find your way home.